So did you get one of those mailers that look like a check offering you a loan up to $35,000 at a super low rate, like 5.95%? Maybe it even said you could cut your monthly payments in half or save over $8,000 a year. But then after you applied, you didn't get the loan. And instead, they tried to enroll you in some kind of debt relief program? Well, let's talk about that. Hey, it's Justin, and in this video, I want to break down what's really going on behind Symple Lending's ads, what they're offering, and what real customers are saying. We'll also talk about the differences between actual debt consolidation loans and debt relief programs, because that's where a lot of people are misled. Also, just a quick heads up, this video is made for just informational purposes only and not legal or financial advice. Now, if you're trying to figure out what makes sense for your situation, we did also build a free calculator that helps you compare loan qualifications, credit counseling, and debt settlement, all based on your unique situation. We'll talk more about the calculator though too later in the video. Okay, so who is Symple Lending? Well, Symple Lending is a financial company that typically says that they offer personal loans, home improvement loans, and business loans. It appears that they may have been founded in 2021, so it seems like they're still fairly new. Now, if you look at their website, it seems like the process sounds simple. You submit an application, you get approved, and receive your funds in 48 hours. But according to a lot of people who've responded to those offers, that's not exactly how things play out. So what are people actually saying about Symple Lending? Let's start with Trustpilot. So right now, Symple Lending has a 4.9 out of 5 rating based on over 3,500 reviews. That sounds great, but if you read through the reviews, most of them mention how kind and helpful the customer service reps were. There's almost no mention of people actually receiving a loan, especially not at the advertised rate or terms. And a few people say that they've applied expecting a loan, but were instead offered something totally different, like a debt consolidation program or a debt settlement plan. That kind of bait and switch is sadly really common in this space. And just to clarify, when I'm mentioning bait and switch, I'm referring to how companies may send you a mailer saying you may pre-qualify for a loan to bait you in, and then tell you don't qualify for a loan, but you do qualify for a debt consolidation program. Okay, let's look at BBB. So over at the Better Business Bureau, they have a 3.8 star rating from around 150 reviews. And again, you'll see a lot of praise for how friendly the reps are, but the reviews rarely say whether the person got the product they were originally promised. Some folks mention confusion about what they were enrolled in, frustration about credit impact, or feeling misled about how the program actually worked. So with that all in mind, let's talk about their CEO. So back in 2017, the Federal Trade Commission filed a case against Symple Lending's CEO for violating telemarketing laws. The allegations involved robocalls, calling people on the do not call registry, and using misleading caller ID information. The settlement included a permanent ban on those practices and a civil penalty of over $400,000. Now, it's just something to be aware of when considering working with the company or responding to their offers. So something you may be thinking then is, what's really going on here? Honestly, from what we've seen, a lot of people apply thinking they're getting a personal loan, but they are actually getting pitched a debt relief program, which is typically just another name for debt settlement. But how does debt settlement work? Is it similar to a debt consolidation loan? Well, with debt settlement, you first stop making payments on your debt. So instead, you're making a monthly deposit into like this special purpose bank account. That money will build up over time, and then once there's enough in there, the company will negotiate with your creditors to settle your debts for less than the full amount. Some settlements could be a lump sum, but most of the time the settlements are paid through a repayment plan over 3 to 36 months, just depending on your situation. So you may be wondering then, well, how much does debt settlement cost? Well, debt settlement companies usually charge between 15 to 25% of the enrolled debt. So for example, let's say you enroll $20,000 in debt into the program, you could end up paying between $3,000 and $5,000 in fees on top of whatever you agree to settle for with the creditors. So yes, you should still save money, but the fees can definitely eat into that savings. And not everyone's aware of those fees and costs up front. There are things called graduation loans that are sometimes offered in debt settlement programs. These can sometimes end up making things significantly more expensive. I'm going to put a video on the screen now where we covered graduation loans if you want to learn more about that. Okay, so let's now talk a bit more about consolidation loans versus consolidation programs. This is ultimately where people get confused. So some companies will send out these mailers that look like a loan offer, but they're really pitching a debt settlement program or a consolidation program, which is not a loan. So it's really important to not only read the fine print, but ask questions. If there's no interest rate, no fixed loan amount, and no lender actually listed, it might not actually be a loan. So now is the time you're probably asking yourself, what do I actually qualify for? And that's exactly why we built our free calculator. It helps you figure out if you might qualify for a real loan, but it also lets you compare things like nonprofit credit counseling, debt settlement, and even bankruptcy all in one place. As oftentimes, folks are finding that they may not be able to qualify for a loan, so we want to show you programs that provide similar relief to a low interest rate consolidation loan. And so here's why we built it. Debt can feel overwhelming. And the sad thing is that I've seen companies will sometimes pressure people into whatever makes them the most money. However, what's frustrating is that these companies aren't selling software. They're selling the idea that they're going to give someone financial freedom. So why would it ever make sense to push someone into something that's related to their finances? So we made this calculator to be the opposite. It's 100% free. There's no personal info required unless it helps you. And it's there to give you clarity, not pressure. So with all that in mind, a lot of people are not qualifying for the loans. So if you don't qualify for a loan, one option called nonprofit credit counseling might be worth looking into. That's where there's a licensed agency that helps you lower the interest rates and create a 1 monthly payment to pay off your debt over a shorter period of time. This option should be far less impactful to your credit as the debt is not falling behind. It can also give you light at the end of the tunnel as you're now paying more towards the principal versus all of this interest. That option is also included in the calculator I just mentioned. Okay, so here's the big takeaway. If you got a mailer from Symple Lending, make sure you understand whether you're being offered a real loan or you're just being pitched a debt relief program instead. Use the calculator linked below to compare your real options, whether that's a loan, nonprofit credit counseling, or something else entirely. Now that you know what to watch for in these kind of offers, here's a video where we'll walk through the difference between consolidation loans and consolidation programs step by step. We'll go in depth significantly more. Ultimately, it should help you make the best decision for your situation. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. If this video helped, give it a like, subscribe, and drop a comment down below if you've even seen an offer from Symple Lending or had a similar experience. We'd love to hear from you, and we're here to always help.